I'm about to prove it to you that I've earned this, that now I can speak. Now I can speak. I could not speak until right now. Even after practicing singing and my dancing and taking years of dance lessons and being able to teach myself, even my emotions, negative and positive, that you have to go through, writing down every single thing that came to mind that I wanted and accomplishing it for 3 years. Everything I wanted, whether it was an iPad or a new microphone or a light or whatever it was, if it was dance lessons, if it was getting back into the dentist, if it was getting new contacts because I didn't have health insurance. I lost my disability after being exploded from a Buick that should have never been on the market, losing my children to car seats being set on fire, car seats that were never supposed to be on the market, losing my lawyers for getting upset and calling out their malpractice and finding new lawyers, and losing to General Motors and moving up to Detroit and protesting and telling the story, knowing I couldn't tell my story from North Carolina, being from Michigan, and moving up here to Detroit across the street from General Motors to tell my story, taking dance lessons, running sandwiches at the brewery that ended up getting shut down, Founders Brewing Company, because me and the manager got into it. And everyone wants to test their ability to express themselves. But with someone that has survivor's guilt and PTSD, it was very hard to be able to use my voice. And so dancing was my way to do that. Getting in the gym, being in the best shape of my life, that was the way to do that. I'm writing my book. I want to edit my book in front of everybody and see the process, what it takes to edit a book and publish it. I don't know. We're going to find out though. Just like everything else I said I was going to do, I did it. I bought a house. I bought a truck. I got my braces. I got highlights. Never thought I'd do that, which makes a difference. And I wouldn't be hitting this record button if I didn't do absolutely everything else. I am diagnosed PTSD, and my coping is keeping my body busy through music, through dancing, through singing, through being in the gym, and writing this book I called The Application of Integrity, to find out what happens if you try hard despite your circumstances, despite the odds being against you. I wanted to know what happened if you didn't fall in a ditch somewhere, because I read a book that said everything had a purpose, that there was no death, the involution and evolution of all things, the subjective and objective result, the intangible and the tangible. And then my Buick exploded, and me and my children were on fire, and I survived and they didn't. Life isn't real anymore. Life doesn't make any sense. Nobody talks about that. Nobody speaks about the poverty and the attachment styles. Why hasn't anyone mentioned attachment styles? If I would have known about attachment styles, I could save all of my relationships now, because I know what attachment means, and having anxious anxiety attachment and avoidant attachment and secure attachment. Anxious attachment. I hate the word anxiety, and I've completely ruined my relationships with anxiety. And I had no idea. Just because to me, I thought I was being strong all the time because I handled everything, but I would get upset with you if you didn't quite handle it the way I wanted it to be handled, and causing problems and chaos over emotions. Anxiety or nothing. It's not attractive. Causing problems is not attractive. And it doesn't mean you want your avoidant ex back, because they're still avoiding responsibility and things that they need to take care of. But man, does it really help to understand attachment styles. And before I start writing my book and going live and talking to people about how to cope with PTSD, how to see the signs in the stars of our circumstances, and that you're not alone, that there's something to this, and we do have free will, but these windows of opportunity and chaos that come, and how are we going to go about mm, our circumstances and our uh, things that we don't anticipate happening. Like if your Buick explodes, if your family passes away or you lose your job, what happens? What do you do? I've been every walk of life. I've been with every walk of life. I've done and been through what I think is about just about every dang near mistake. I've been through just about every form of abuse with relationships in one form or another. And I've earned this spot. I've earned this spot right here. I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about. I've accomplished everything. I know what I'm talking about. Except buying a boat and a plane ticket out of the country, which I'm about to do this summer. I've done everything I could possibly do, including owning a house with not one boat slip, but three boat slips because I was trying to get an apartment in Detroit on the water, on the county water there and on the city well, and they denied me over poor credit. And I have a 719 credit score according to the bank. Blessing in disguise. The gods gave me a house, not an apartment, with three boat slips. I know what I'm talking about. Everything I put down, I write down and I make it happen. Everything. Everything. And when you ask the gods and you say I'm ready and I have the burden of awareness, watch out because it's not going to come the way you expect. And life is self-assignment. We need to take initiative on our life and what we want to do, writing everything down that we want to accomplish, checking it off, making it happen. I've done it. I've done it. I'm proof. And now I can speak. Now I can do it. And I couldn't do it until my survivor's guilt said I did it. And now you can listen to me. And now I'm going to be on and I'm going to be editing my book and I'm going to be sharing my studies and my astrological studies I signed up for last year. I've been in constant survival mode, checking off the boxes to get to a homeowner status. So I'm not paying $1,500 in rent with a roommate that we needed our space and we got to the next point in our life. For 3 years, living in Detroit with a roommate. It's just unheard of. This small, nice apartment. We had our gym and our pool. Changed my life. I'm in the best shape of my life. I did it. I did everything. So now you can listen to me. I know what I'm talking about. We're going to share the studies about the stars and the Bible and that all the mythology, all the religion, and our first book to share, the biggest lie ever told, that all astrology, mythology, and religion is all the same. And it comes from the same origin. It's all in the stars. And all the chaos that you go through, it's up there. It comes up there first. Everything starts in mind, the subjective, the involution, and the evolution. And it correlates the cause and effect. What's up here is out here. And I said one day that I was going to give people hope one day. And we exploded. I read the book, The Science of Mind. Weeks later, we exploded. So that I would work hard for 3 years after the accident, July 4th, 2018. It was like grinding, waitressing, doing as much as you could, trying to stretch and work out, but I would sleep forever. I had no direction until I took off to Detroit after we lost to General Motors in court. And we would lose on my children's birthdays, on Halloween. They would set these dates up for the most emotional. And when they dropped my representation on the conjunction of the solar eclipse with Jupiter last year, and the judge let them drop my representation because the lawyer said I was too emotional, when my children's wrongful death would get dropped out of the cases against General Motors and Even Flow car seats and AmSafe manufacturer for a car seat that was never approved for prime time, was never supposed to be on the shelf. Talk about odds being against you. And yet there's still something to do, and that's why I'm here. I've worked this hard to get to this point so that I can find out, and I'm going to give people hope that have gone through trauma and PTSD and any kind of loss, that we all have our own trauma that we're dealing with. And I said I was going to give the world hope one day, and it comes with knowledge. Knowledge is power. And the burden of awareness is responsibility. And I'm going to share this the way I always knew I would one day. And so stay tuned, because Frosty is about to be let out because she done did everything. And it's time for the next chapter, and that's my real book this time. It's a real book. So you'll notice Frosty got two accents. I got a southern accent, and then I also talk a little Latina when I get excited. So we're going Latin dancing tonight. So thank goodness dancing and singing music has saved my life. So I share that also with people getting to dance and teach now. So more to come from Frosty, and it's just the beginning. We're about to find out what exactly it is and what it's meant for. So keep going about your journey. This is the winter solstice. We just got over the Christmas holiday, which is the Chrism Christ that goes down the lumbar system and back up to activate the right side of the brain. And more to come. We'll see what the result of that is. I'm guessing studies. My astrological studies, I signed up for a course last year and being in survival mode, trying to get this house and trying to survive every day, going to work every day, and trying to make sense of my life. And that's what was checking off the boxes. And so now the next step, I've been to the dentist, I got my contacts, got my new jeans, got my house, got my truck, got my job, doing what I love, and I'm proof that you follow what you love, you follow what your heart says to do. Moving to Detroit was the best decision I ever made in my life. That I have a community that's now getting to know my story. Like I said, I would always come up here to do. It's a little bit scary. Oh, we had a car fire at one of our local studios a couple weeks ago, and now people are starting. It was a good it was crazy. It was an affirmation for me to keep telling the story. Now everybody's seen a little bit of a glimpse of what it means to see such a car fire. So uh, stay the course. Stay the course. We're about to find out what happens. So stay tuned with Frosty, and we're going to study. We're going to go after my book and maybe look for some signs. Stay tuned.